I feel great happiness that I accomplished this book. I feel that it's a love letter to my teacher and also to my father, and a way of describing a journey that that one must make in order to discover what's true and what's not true. So I think that's enough for me to say as an introduction. I welcome your questions now, and I need to have someone paying attention to the time so that I leave time to read the excerpts from the memoir that I want to read. Can you do that, sweetheart? What time is it now?
7:50.
7:50? Okay. So I welcome any questions that you might have about what I've just talked about. Yes, Katie?
The qualities you speak of the yearning in a student, did you ever experience that from Rinpoche?
Definitely.
In terms of, is a teacher finished when he's a teacher?
No, great point. No. Chogyam Trungpa said that the most important quality that a genuine student has to have is the genuine heart of sadness.
Yes.
And that this sadness is very complex. It has to do, first of all, with sadness for the suffering of beings. It has to do with the sadness for the truth of impermanence, and that all of our attempts to make things solid and to make them last will eventually be futile. It has to do with the sadness for the unnecessary suffering in the world, that there's the necessary suffering of impermanence, but the unnecessary suffering of how we're so unkind to each other because of our own confusion and our own fear and our own aggression. And then for him, there was the sadness of being 19 years old when the Chinese invaded Tibet, destroyed his country, drove him out of his homeland, imprisoned his teacher. His teacher died in prison. He never saw him again. And so Chogyam Trungpa's guru, just as he was my guru, was someone for whom he had intense love and devotion. And he realized when he came to America that he would never see his teacher again, that he was totally on his own. And he had such longing. We talk about it all the time. He had such longing that he wanted his teacher to be able to see what he was doing here, how he was working with people, that he felt he wanted his teacher to confirm him in some way. And he said, that, and he would tell us, the message here is that there's no finish line in the spiritual path, and you will never be finally confirmed. You will never have your teacher finally put the final star of approval on your karma. It will not happen. And that living with that open-endedness creates even a more powerful fearlessness in a warrior. Living with that aloneness and living with that unrequited love. And the relationship between the teacher and the student is a very profound relationship of unrequited love, but it's one that helps us to grow up and to extend our love to others without expecting constantly to be fed. And so his example was very inspiring because he was basically orphaned when he was a teenager. He was the abbot of his monastery from the time he was 8 years old. It's unimaginable what his life was like and what he accomplished even before, while he was still a teenager, before he came to America. So I don't know, have I answered your question?
There's more, but there's other people.
Yes.
I was just curious, are you still in contact with Trungpa Rinpoche?
Am I still in contact with him?
Yeah.
I'm in contact with him through my practice and through my continuing to teach, work with clients, and serve beings.
I was just curious if you were acting as a pundit for the guru.
A pundit?
Extra dimensional.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I have no such powers.
I'm just curious.
No, I'm a very ordinary kind of guy, actually. But I have great love and devotion, and I feel a fairly clear understanding of what it was that I received from him. And I feel a great responsibility and passion to pass that on while I'm still here. You're welcome. Did someone ask me a question back there? No. Are there other questions or comments?
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, definitely, Kate. Go ahead. You always have good questions.
I consider you my teacher in a certain sense. What do you still yearn for and long for? Or does it change in this quality from a student
A really nice
to
place on
teacher?
a beach in Mexico.
What?
A nice little place on a beach in Mexico. It's the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, in some ways, I'm living my life as fully as I could possibly live it. And yet, there's always something left over. There's always left something. And he said that. He said part of the genuine heart of sadness is that no matter how full your life is, how rich it is, how fulfilling it is, there's always some part of it that can never be expressed to anyone else, that can never be completely fulfilled. And he said this was the source of all artistic inspiration and creativity, is that we want to express everything that's in our heart, but we do it and then we realize, no, that's not quite it. And then we do it again. And no, that's not quite it. But we want to keep doing it. And that is the path. So from that point of view, I would say that my life feels wonderful to me. And I'm doing exactly what I want to do. But my heart is totally broken the whole time. Totally. Does that make any sense to you?
Exactly. Yes, thank you.
And I think one of the really powerful and inspiring things about Chogyam Trungpa was how his brokenheartedness was there for all to see. I mean, he was just raw, completely raw, totally genuine, nothing hidden, at times utterly outrageous, still controversial. But I can say that in all my encounters with him, he was overwhelmingly genuine, compassionate, devastatingly insightful, unmasking, unlike anything I ever experienced before or since. And I feel very blessed to have been embarrassed by him so many times.